Again. Today is the 24th of September, I believe. So, I know I'm stupid for even posting these, because it is gonna probably draw attention to me, which I don't like. But I don't know, maybe the whole reason behind this is to give y'all an idea, give you an insight of what it is like to be homeless. Where I'm staying all day from like 7:30 in the morning up until, well, on the other side of the property, they're still having tournaments. So it has been super busy, and me being the type of person where I honestly do not like being among huge crowds of people. It was an experience because I had to go into the park to use the bathroom and get water and charge my phone. So, but yesterday was, oh my gosh. So okay, it was during the day, and these 4 kids were riding on the path, and like I told y'all yesterday, if you come in one direction, you can see my blanket and my feet, and that's the direction that they came in. As soon as they saw me, they screamed like I was supposed to get scared or something. I don't know. They're like 10, 11, maybe 12, pushing it. Then they jumped the rock wall and screamed snake and went down to the water to check it out. And I don't know if they were screaming snake to try and scare me or whatever. I just figure they're kids, they're boys being boys, whatever. And they played down by the water for a little bit, and then they crossed back over the rock wall, and right before they got on their bikes to take off, they threw handfuls of sand at me. And one of them, I think it was only one, because his other 3 friends had already taken off. They were pretty much gone and left him behind. And I told him, that is, what was the word I used? I can't remember, but I did threaten to call the cops on him next time and everything. And so I went to the bathroom, and this was like a few hours later. I went to the bathroom and I was charging up my phone, and all of a sudden I see him come into the park. So I kept my eye on them, and whenever I realized that they were headed towards my spot, I started walking this way. They saw me walking this way, so they went the other direction on the path, over by the play area. And so, I was like football field at least away from them, nowhere near them. But I do carry my bat everywhere I go, because I'm not going to allow someone to jeopardize my well-being without some sort of protection. And so I just watched them to make sure that they weren't going to turn around and try to go back to my spot, because in my head, I don't get paid to think, but in my head, I was thinking, they're going to go to my spot, they're going to mess with my stuff, they're going to tear everything up, they're going to destroy it, I got to protect my stuff, because I don't have a lot. And I watched them for a while, and they started heading in the opposite direction. So I went back to where I was charging my phone, and I was keeping an eye on him. And then this lady, her dog got off his leash and she was trying to catch him. So I tried to help her, which took my gaze off of the kids, and I just couldn't find them, and I didn't know where they had gone. And then I would say about a good 45 minutes later, they're like, I'm really bad at guesstimating distances. Um, I would say they were probably like maybe a quarter of a football field away from me. Hey, we're sorry. I turn around. I said, well, if you're actually sorry, then come here and say it to my face. And of course, I got my bat with me. So they were like, no, you just want to hit us with that. I was like, well, if that's what you think, then you've got a guilty conscience. And I told them, I said, obviously, you aren't sorry. Well, we weren't even throwing it at you. We were throwing it at the water. Okay. All right. You're like, I don't know how to describe it. I might be like 20 feet away from the water, maybe. I'm horrible at guesstimating, and I'm about, I would say, a good 15, yeah, probably a good 15 steps away from where they had their bikes. And I was like, no, that's a lie. I'm not buying it. And one of them yelled at, why don't you just go home? I was like, that is my home. I said, why don't you just go home and get your butt whooped until you can't sit down anymore, because that's what you need. You need to go to school, get an education, and take care of yourself and worry about what you're doing with your life and not me. I said, just because I don't have a building to live in doesn't mean that I'm any less important or valuable than you. Well, they hollered some other stuff that was supposed to, I guess, hurt my feelings, degrade me, put me down, whatever. They sounded like the adults that I encounter. So it's like, it'd be nice if people would get new material, be original, come up with something different. I've already heard it. It doesn't affect me, so whatever. And this morning, because my spot, um, even though it's sand, it's like really, really hard. So I just decided that I was gonna break it up with my bat. I couldn't handle it anymore. So I was doing that this morning, and I got halfway done breaking up the sand, and all of a sudden I hear, "Hey, are we cool?" And I'm looking around, can't find them. And then I look towards that way, which is an incline to where the bridge meets the ground. And they were sitting up there. They, for some reason, they don't like coming close to me, which is fine. And I told them, I looked, I finally found them. I was like, as long as you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. And hey, what are you doing? I was like, I'm breaking up the ground. Why? I said, because it's really hard. Well, where'd you get your bat? I said, well, a really nice citizen in the community gave it to me. And what kind of bat is that? Well, it's a T-ball bat. And then one of them shouted, hey, can I come live with you? And then he started saying something about his mama, but I couldn't hear it because traffic ahead, up or above. And so they were like, well, do you want something from McDonald's? All right, these kids, 10, 11, 12, pushing it. Where do you have, where'd you get the money? Did you steal it out of your mom's wallet? Did you do chores and actually earn it? So I told him, I was like, well, I'm good, just get me a cup of ice. And so they rode down the hill and they went to McDonald's. I'm sure there was a line. And, I wasn't really expecting them to come back. And I'd say about a good 45 minutes. That sounds about right. They show back up. And I could tell that it took them a while because some of the ice had melted in the cup. And then I was like, I really appreciate this, guys. Thank you. And I thought that they were going to come and like sit and hang out and everything. I'm glad that they didn't because I'm the type of person where I really don't want to be around people. And so as I was pouring my water into the cup, one of them was like, "Do I need to go get you some water?" I was like, "No, I've got some, thanks though." And they rode off. And as I started drinking the water, I was like, I bet every single one of them spit in this. But honestly, it's been a while since I've had iced water. So, I mean, what's their germs gonna do to me? Just boost mine? Ooh. So, that was nice to be able to have some ice water. Ice water is the best. But I've had a few things on my mind today. I scored some. I'm not really proud of this, but since I'm sharing my experiences being a homeless person, so whenever all the tournaments close to where I charge my phone were done with, this guy came and threw away a bronze bag, but the trash can was so full that it just sat on top. And so I was like, well, I'm going to give it a few minutes. I wasn't really starving, but I was in discomfort and I needed something. And everything that I hoard from my snack packs during the week, I mean, they're snacks. So, after a bit, and I noticed that nobody was around or watching, I just went over, plugged my phone in because I've got it right by that trash can because my cord's too long or too short to actually sit on the table. So I scooch the table and I lean up against the trash can. And so I side saddled the bench and plugged in my phone, and then I just quickly grabbed the bag and I dug in it. And there was 2 full hamburgers, hadn't even been touched or unwrapped. And then there was a Jimmy John's, and half of that was gone, you could tell. So I ate the cheeseburgers first because I knew that those were kosher, and I was like, well, the Jimmy John's I'll just eat backwards, towards wherever their lips touched. And I opened it up, and sure shit, it was half of a Jimmy John's wrap. It was like a spicy chicken type wrap, and no teeth marks. It hadn't been eaten, so they only ate half of it and threw the rest of it away. So I was feeling very grateful, and I thank the Lord for that. I mean, if it had been inside the trash can, and if any of it had been touched, I probably wouldn't have eaten it. So I was very thankful. But I've got some things on my mind right now, like, okay, so I'm in a relationship with a guy and he lives in Ohio. I do better in long distance relationships. That's all the information that you're going to get from me. But it doesn't make sense because I'm always told that you're only able to love someone if you love yourself. And that to love someone else if you don't love yourself, it doesn't work or whatever. I can't really remember verbatim what it is, but and then I'm also told, or I've also heard that whenever you're in a relationship, especially a female, in a relationship with a male, if you don't have a good self-esteem and you don't have strong confidence, that's a turn off. I have been with this man for going on 8 years in January. I have tried to break up with him so many times. And because of my mental illnesses, whenever I do go through an episode, I do have a tendency to push people away and break off relationships and distance myself. I don't want them dealing with what I go through, because I go to NAMI meetings and I listen to family members that have, family and friends that have pretty much the same mental disabilities that I have. Sometimes it's worse. And I always sit back and listen to their pain and their heartache and the stress and the anxiety that it causes them. And I don't want to cause somebody pain like that. But this man, he has been through it with me. All of the things, like I had back surgery just a few months after I gave in and became his girlfriend. And he went through that with me, and that caused me to have issues with communicating, like putting words together to answer questions, or small talk, just starting small talk and all these other things. And he would call me like 2-3 times a day, and he would ask me questions, but they were never just simple yes or no questions or 1-2 answer questions. It was something where I had to actually think about how I was going to answer, because it was full-on questions that needed full answers. And it took about 14 months before I could actually carry on a conversation with anybody. And because of the back surgery and all of my mental issues that came with it, I used to be a writer, short stories and poetry, and it's gone. I've tried. It doesn't work anymore, which is very heartbreaking, because words are like my life. I love them. I mean, just how you can rearrange different letters to make different words that have different meanings, and it's like I lost a part of myself. But if I hadn't had the operation, then I would be paralyzed right now. So, it's give up walking or give up your passion. So I gave up my passion. But this man, it doesn't matter what I say to him. It doesn't matter how hard I push away from him. It doesn't matter what I do or don't do. It doesn't matter how hard I argue. He won't leave. He won't go away. One time I thought that I had broken up with him, and he gave me about a month to a month and a half, and then he called me and he was like, "So how's it going?" I was like, "It's going pretty well. I'm kind of liking this single life." He goes, "You're single?" I was like, "Yeah. Don't you remember I broke up with you?" He goes, "I must have not got that memo." Oh my word. And then he was there through my having to sever my parental rights to my youngest child, because after I found out what was mentally wrong with me, I didn't want to screw up my youngest like I did my other two. So I signed over my rights, and someone that was very near and dear to me adopted her. But I'm not going to get into that. All I want to say is that normally, whenever I go through an episode or I have issues, people usually take it. I don't know. It's like nobody gets me. He gets me. I don't understand why he's the only one in the world that gets who I am and my character and my personality. But I really do appreciate him in my life. Otherwise, anybody else, they would have been gone. They would have been gone. They wouldn't have stuck around going on 8 years. Uh, honestly, and this is the longest relationship I've ever been in. That's sad. But yeah, I think I just needed to get that out. I was just having issues with that. Because, I mean, I enjoy the fact that the hundreds of people that were here today just acted like I was invisible. That made me feel safe. I I don't want to interact with people. And if I could get away with it, I'm actually thinking about getting my fishing license and some fishing gear and fishing out here, and just because there's grills over there that I can use. And I want to be so self-sufficient that nobody knows that I exist. I just want to be able to disappear. It's been rough. Yeah, especially childhood. Everything that I went through my childhood and having to go through it by myself. I just, and then hearing family say, "Oh, we love you, we miss you, we worry about you," and they treat me like, whenever I'm not around them, they treat me like I don't exist anyways. So I'm tired of their lies. And if anybody has the powers to give me powers, or has a machine that they can put me in, and or like even the invisibility cloak from Harry Potter, anything. The power of invisibility would really help me out a lot. My mom had 3 miscarriages before me. 3. And she couldn't have a fourth. I mean, how hard would it be to miscarry a fourth one? I mean, what's so special about me that I got to survive? I mean, really? Just, it doesn't make sense. Anyways, before I really let the waterworks just pour out, I'm gonna go ahead and end this for tonight and see if I can't get some sleep, because now my head is just. But I do have a medical intake tomorrow, and I was told that after that I'll be able to get straight on my meds, which would be this Wednesday. However, I don't know if that's actually going to happen or if I'm going to have to wait another week, but I am really curious to see if anything really changes, because I don't know if my meds are gonna work anymore. My head is just too far gone right now, especially after all the rejections and so many people knowing that I'm living on the streets and none of them offering. And then the one couple that does offer, and I tell them, well, if I passed up of this opportunity, I'd probably get my butt kicked. But I need to think about it, because don't trust them. I mean, all of this started spiraling downhill whenever I was a child, but it got worse right after the incident that I had with them. And right after I told her that, she texted me back and said, "Oh, well, we're still thinking about it too." Well, if you're still thinking about it, then why'd you even ask? Whatever. But at least they're offering, like, if it gets too cold, I can go stay with them, or if I need laundry done, I can go do it over there, or if I need to take a shower, I can shower over there. So we'll see what happens. Honestly, I'd rather jump in the lake and scrub down, and I know that water's freezing cold right now, but I don't know, part of me just wants to, like, take the most possessions that I have that are, like, essential and put them in my backpack and just leave everything else behind and just start walking. I want to go see the Grand Canyon. I want to go to Yellowstone National Park, see Old Faithful. I want to, yeah, there's a lot of places that I just want to go see and whatever. But I don't know. Part of me tells me, no, you need to stay until you get approved for your disability. So I think I'm going to do that. But anyways, I'm just rambling now. The crazy troll that lives under the bridge can't shut up. Anyway, well, y'all have a wonderful evening. And of course, I'll probably be doing this tomorrow. I guess just to record what happened at my Medival. I think that's what they called it. Anyways, alright. Well, y'all have a wonderful night. And I don't know you, but I do love you. Good night.